What is going on, guys? CJ here and welcome back to Stalcraft. In today's video, we're continuing our series covering the best artifacts in the game. Today we have vitality and healing artifacts. If you happen to have missed it, our first episode covered speed artifacts and our second episode covered bullet res. Today we have the most used category of artifacts, and that is vitality and healing. Not only is it the most used category of artifacts for endgame in global, but also in RU, so they do have a lot of longevity. But with all that out the way, let's check out what artifacts I'm talking about. Here we have our top artifacts in the game, and I know damn well some of you veterans are looking at one of these artifacts cringing extremely hard. But let's talk about it. First off, we have the meat chunk, and I know, guys, I know this is weird to be here, but let's be honest, it has a very low rad negative to it, and it has health regen and healing effectiveness. On top of that, you can get meat chunks for dirt cheap. You can get these things anywhere of all kinds of rarities. So if you're just starting out, you're building up your build, you're trying to get something rolling, a meat chunk might not be a bad option. If it rolls healing effectiveness, it's going to give you a nice little hefty amount of healing with a little health regen in the back. Not a bad artifact, definitely worth it after rebalance. I personally don't run it, and if you have much better artifacts like Mama's Bead, Shards, you're not going to be running a meat chunk. But until you get those artifacts, get yourself a blue meat chunk. Get yourself a pink meat chunk for like 300k in the market, and boom, slot it in, and you got something very functional. Up next, we have one artifact that everybody loves, and I personally haven't even begun to work on these artifacts. I've actually traded away 2 blue of these, and that is the Firefly. Now, the Firefly is an artifact that is very, very good, and the reason being is that it gives you vitality, health regen, and movement speed. So if you're trying to do a build where you're tanky, but you're also able to move and flank, this might be the artifact for you. Incredibly good. That vitality makes you chunky. The fact that it rolls movement speed makes you fast. And overall, it's just a really good artifact that you might want to slot into many different builds. We're talking about vitality today, but you could slot a Firefly into a movement speed build to give yourself some movement as well as some chunkiness and some vitality so you can tank a little bit more. Overall, Firefly, top tier vitality artifact. Up next, we have one of the best artifacts since the dawn of time, and that is the Shard. The Shard is basically everything that you're looking for in a build for vitality and healing effectiveness. So it has vitality, healing effectiveness, health regen, and the bio is not that high. It's pretty high, but it's not super high. This Shard right here is God tier at 119. It's not pink, but basically it's pink. And the stats are quite good. You have 2.73 vitality, pretty much 17 healing effectiveness. And as you can see, this is one of the higher healing effectiveness so far. So pretty solid artifact, if I do say so myself. Try to get your hands on a Shard. Start off simple, guys. Get yourself a green Shard for like 200k and you'll be all good to go. But definitely if you're trying to go for vitality and healing effectiveness, you got to get yourself a Shard. Up next, we have probably one of the most coveted artifacts when it comes to vitality and healing effectiveness, and that is the Mama's Beads. And yes, my Mama's Bead rolled absolute dog shit, I know, but let's talk about it. So it gives you vitality and it gives you healing effectiveness, and as you can see, that healing effectiveness is quite chunky. It's pretty damn good, and I do believe this is one of the highest healing effectiveness artifacts out there, if not the highest. I do believe that there is one artifact that can give you more healing effectiveness, but if we're talking about the whole functionality of it, the Mama's Beads is also like a Shard, but maybe even a little better. It does it all. It gives you vitality, it gives you healing effectiveness, so pretty damn good artifact, and I highly advise you get your hands on it. For those of you that don't know, there is a quest in Lemansk that you can take for free. You can get done in about 20-30 minutes if you go at the right time of day, and you get a green Mama's Beads for free. So go ahead and do that if you're getting to around the bar or you've already joined a sub faction. The next thing is, in my opinion, the best vitality artifact in the game, and that is the sun. The sun is a god tier artifact in my opinion. And I'm going to tell you why. First off, temperature is something that you don't really have to stack a lot. So you'll usually be able to run a sun in any hive or most cases without a problem. It gives you one of the highest vitality rolls in the game, as you can see right here. Despite the fact that it's not rolled incredibly high, it gives you bleeding, which is great for PvP as well. It gives you reactions to burns, which is even better for PvP since everybody loves using incense and for other things. And it's really good because it also gives you stamina regen, which is going to be great for PvP, allowing you to jump up and down to avoid headshots or flank around corners a lot better. Just everything the sun gives you is great for a PvP build from every single perspective. So if you can get your hands on a sun, I would advise you do so as fast as possible. And the last artifact on this list is hands down probably one of my favorite artifacts. And I know I say this about every single Blizzard event artifact, but some of them are pretty damn good. And that is the heal, baby. This, in my opinion, is one of the best healing effectiveness artifacts in the game. And I think it's the highest healing effectiveness artifact in the game. I'm not entirely sure, but I do believe it is. So let's talk about it. The heal, like I said, is from the winter event, and you can't get it anymore unless you get it from a player. And it gives you healing effectiveness, reaction to melee, and you only got to counter that frost. And the frost is fine. You can stack this on pretty much anything, and you're not going to have a problem. And the fact that it gives you 25 on a green compared to the blue that only gives me 24, it really lets you know that if you're trying to stack healing effectiveness, the heal is the way to go. If we're talking about overall positioning of the vitality and healing effectiveness artifacts, I would put this below the Mama's Beads and below the sun. But if we're talking about just pure healing effectiveness, this would be the best artifact in the game. The reason I put this below the Mama's Beads and the sun is because both of these give you vitality. Vitality is what's going to make you really chunky. It's great that you have healing effectiveness, but if you get caught lacking and you weren't ready for the shots, you're going to die. Whereas the vitality on a Mama's Beads will make you a little bit chunkier, allowing you to tank more hits. And like usual, we're not done yet. There is one artifact that I want to give an honorable mention to, and that is this thing right here, the Flame. Now, the Flame is not good. It's an alright artifact, but the fact that it gives you health regen, bleeding, and healing effectiveness makes it an artifact that if you happen to have one and you're still getting your build around and you don't have a sun, you can use this. It's going to give you 3 awesome stats for PvP. Health regen is not the greatest, but it's alright to have it. It doesn't hurt. If you're moving around, you're flanking, it's going to help out. If you have bleeding, you're going to be doing great. In case you're bleeding, you're going to take less damage. And healing effectiveness is always good, so you can heal faster, and it just adds to the durability of these builds. And I know it's crazy that I put the meat chunk over the flame, but let's just be real. The meat chunk does give some pretty nice things. It's extremely easy to get. You get these everywhere, and the rat on it is relatively low, and it doesn't counter with, in my opinion, the best vitality artifact in the game, whereas this and this is going to be a problem. You probably won't be able to run it together, but that's going to be it for this video. If you've enjoyed it, do hit that like button, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, follow me on Twitch. Y'all know the deal, guys. I hope to see you on the next one. Peace.